conference will now be recorded.
How are you?
Good, yourself?
Doing well, doing well. Chilly out, but hey.
It's January.
It is
Gotta keep
January.
reminding myself, it's like January, whatever.
January, February.
Makes
and
us
March.
appreciate July and August all the more.
Okay,
I'm gonna borrow this.
are we ready here? It being 6:05 on January 21st, 2026, we'll call this regular meeting of the Belchertown Economic Development Industrial Corporation to order. The meeting is being recorded for BCTV and the town. And the agenda has been posted. The meeting, we anticipate a wide range of topics to cover, but it is anticipated that the board will move at the end of the regular session to executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 2.1, subsection 6 of the Open Meeting Law to discuss terms and conditions and strategy for negotiation relating to pending proposals and contracts. The board will not resume the regular meeting at the conclusion of the executive session. Okay? So agenda item 1, we're going to start with introductions. And we'll start with the board first. Yes,
Beth Maroney, treasurer.
Jonathan Spiegel, member.
Kirk Stevens, chair.
Matt Jackson, member.
Cheryl Dutton, member.
Jim
Bob
Berry.
Rivard, online member.
Thank you, Bob.
Go ahead, Jim.
I'm Jim Berry.
Special something.
Lisa Lazar Pearson, Chair, Select Board.
Thank you.
Robert Jenkins, Mass Development.
Tim Gilbert, Mass Development.
And online, we have Doug Albertson and Jen. Is that, I don't know which Jen that is. Jen, would you introduce yourself?
Yes, it's Jen Turner. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's the one and only.
Okay. Into our agenda then. Minutes of the prior meeting. Bob has circulated the minutes of the
Yes,
prior.
I did.
Thank you. And
Thanks, Bob.
are there any, we're going to take the minutes of January 7, I think is the first one, Bob, that we have to review and approve.
That's correct.
All right, so do we have any changes to the minutes of January 7th?
Yes.
Okay, Cheryl, please.
In agenda item number 2, the payables, the question of the 1099 form on record payable, there's, in opinions, there is no indication of such. We need a formal statement from a CPA. We all believe, and the town believes, that there should be 1099s issued to individuals that pay more than, for 2025, $600. For 2026, that's raised to $2,000.
Whoa,
Yes, it's a
good
huge,
to know.
it's a huge jump, but, you
Yep.
know, that is, you don't have to issue that if it's a corporation.
Okay, but
And
are,
this is an IRS rule. It cannot be superseded by.
okay, but we're not discussing that.
No, but it should be removed until we get an opinion. There's
Well-
no indication of such. There is an indication of such.
The thing is we don't file taxes.
How would
So
you,
it would be a
wait,
moot
wait,
point to hand it,
Kirk,
but anyway.
we're going
We're
to
just
talk
talking
about
about
that in a
the
little
minutes.
bit. But just in terms of the minutes and
Okay.
what the minutes
Yeah, you're
say,
right.
I would just strike that line.
strike that line.
Well, because somebody will tell you there is an indication of such. It's in the IRS.
Well, people have
regulations.
already told us that,
Yeah,
and witness tonight.
That's why.
Well, I
we
think he
strike
just
it.
meant that there was no indication that we have filed 1099s. I don't think he meant that
That we don't have to
that we
issue
didn't
one.
have to.
Correct.
I think he meant that we have not.
Okay, so
in the
then
past.
just,
So maybe
maybe explain that. We've
Yeah.
not done it in the past.
So we could add, Bob, if you would, there, just no indication in the past would modify
Right, that.
the minutes, because it's capturing what somebody said at the meeting, not necessarily what is the
Whether it's correct.
the legal, whether it's correct or not.
Yeah, so it's,
We're going to talk
it
about it.
was a thing. And agenda item number 3, last paragraph, Ms. Dutton asked if BDIC could borrow funds to cover the legal fees going forward. That was Beth.
Beth did that.
I did that.
Yeah, so we haven't changed that. What is it? Item 3,
Last paragraph.
last paragraph. That,
And it's
Quote-
not borrow them, it's utilize funds.
okay, and that should be attributed to Beth.
And the wording changed to utilize.
Utilize, okay. Thank you, Bob. That it?
Yeah, that's all I said.
Anybody else?
I had seen something. Not sure if it was on
Okay.
here or the,
You're on one?
You want one? You want it?
Oh, he's looking.
Oh, you got it.
oh, I got it. I had remembered that there was something that jumped out to me on screen and then I can't find it on here, but it was minor. It was minor.
Okay. All right, no other changes or additions being heard. Is there a motion to accept as amended?
I make a motion to accept the minutes of January 7th, 2026 as amended.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Kirk seconds. All in favor, say aye.
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 I abstain, I wasn't there.
And Bob?
Yes, I agree. I will vote aye.
Okay, so
I
5-0.
also want to remind you, Jonathan,
Yeah,
that you're going to hand this off tonight to somebody
Yes,
else to do. Okay.
yes.
We'll cover it.
But first, we want to get the old minutes out of the way.
Okay.
The next we have is executive committee minutes from January 7th. Is that right?
Executive committee.
And we'll do that in the executive committee tonight. Thank you, Sharon.
Right.
Good. Great. Okay. The issue of the minutes, I guess I would like to say Bob has done a long term of service as the clerk of the board for the last, 12 years, 18 years, 12 years,
13.
a lot of years. And needs to hand that off at this point in time. So I want to begin that process by just thanking you, Bob, for
Yes, thank you.
taking that responsibility for such a long period. It's not
Kept us
anybody's
going.
favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
So we don't have anybody in that seat right now in that responsibility. Is there someone who would like to volunteer to do that, even for a short period of time?
Well, I had mentioned, we'd gone, Cheryl and Matt and I had gone back and forth and Matt came up with AI, the possibility of using that. Well, just so happens, Terry, the town clerk, is setting up for teaching election stuff next door. So I just had a conversation with her and she said, yes, it ain't gonna happen, not yet. She said, the app that you use starts out okay, but then it starts adapting to something other than what's on there. And all of a sudden they're referring to somebody that wasn't even there and stuff. So she said, as far as legally right now, it ain't gonna fly. So we'll have to, she said there's another, I don't know if it's an app or whatever, but it's very expensive. And so she wasn't even considering that at this point in time, but certainly it's worth looking into a little bit more. But she said just off the cuff that, it's not something that we can rely on, whether it's something that we can troubleshoot as we go along the way. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think you can do it. I think you just have to, when it comes out and printed out, you just adjust what it says. You don't you aren't supposed to take AI as is, like it's not perfect,
Edited.
but you still got to edit it. But you can get a good baseline outline to make it a lot easier.
Okay.
So.
But somebody would have to know what to do.
that-
Right.
Well, I'm for rotating it. I do not have time to do minutes. I still got all the financials to do. We just got additional things added to each of us, which I'm not sure Bob did, but if we want to rotate it between all of us, I'm okay with that, but I will not take it on
Okay,
full time.
so we're not,
I
What?
agree.
yeah, so we could rotate it. We've done that before. I remember you volunteering.
I did it for quite a few years
Yeah.
before Bob came.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I've done a couple of years myself. So, to support the suggestion, we have begun looking at what it would mean for the EDIC to actually hire some administrative support. And I feel we should move forward with that exploration and perhaps even to make it happen, and we can discuss that quickly shortly, but I think we need to see if anybody can do it tonight. We're gonna have the recording in case anybody wants to refer to the recording.
I mean, I could try it, yeah.
Okay, remember, you don't have to capture every word.
No,
No,
Right.
it's gonna be on the
Yeah.
recording. I'm not gonna write anything
I'll
down.
record the votes.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Yeah.
votes are the important thing that you have to record.
Yeah.
right.
And I think,
Just a summary of the discussion.
I'm
Doesn't
just gonna
have to
talk
be
to
word
Cheryl.
for word.
yeah.
Matt, thank you.
And in my
There's
brief,
a format now too, right, that we all got. I don't know if we all got it, but that the town had sent out the format that the minutes are supposed to be done in.
okay.
I'll ask
She
Terry
gave us a
for it.
template.
Yeah, she
Right,
sent it to
right.
us and we
She
all-
sent
Terry-
it to us.
Terry's definitely the one to go to. And as we were talking, she said, you know, the minutes that Bob puts out are the Lexus model. And they don't need the Lexus model.
Yeah.
Right.
She said, it can be, a quarter of this and it would be fine.
Yeah.
It's
no,
more
fine.
of, okay, this is the headline,
Yeah, it's about-
a discussion ensued, and no vote was taken or something like that is sufficient. It doesn't have to be a full write-up like Bob's been doing.
Okay,
Hi, Steve.
we've been, for those who are not in the room, we've been joined by John Ritter, Select Person, and Steve Williams, Town Manager. And we're going to continue with the agenda. Thank you, Matt, for grabbing that for tonight.
I'll do the lead off.
Okay.
I'll set the bar low for you guys.
Okay.
Maybe Prius.
Okay,
Yeah.
And,
all right, moving right along. Agenda item 2, payables, budget, other matters. We've got a couple of things to discuss here, including the administrative support. So, Beth,
So I'll start with, I received the quote from, oh my God, what is their name?
the insurance.
The insurance company, yeah.
Okay.
It's not on here, it's from the, it's Great American, but who's our agent? What's?
Bill and Hunt.
Bella
Bill and
Hudson,
Hudson,
sorry. For our directors and officers liability premium, is $2,906, which is in line with previous years. This is still a quote. She needs an email from me accepting this before it's in place. I can send everybody the 35-page policy if you'd like to review it.
Doubt that it's necessary. I think it can just be made available.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah.
really think you need to go to that extent.
yeah.
Now, is this for insurance?
This is the directors and
Directors
officers
insurance,
liability,
okay.
not property.
Right,
This is just for us.
directors.
So,
There should probably be a copy, well, not probably, there should be a copy that remains in town hall of the policy.
Okay.
And what's the name of that carrier?
Oh, yeah.
Great American Insurance Group.
That's a carrier from before.
Yeah, yeah. Yep.
So do you,
So
the amount was,
$2,906.
okay,
So I make a motion to pay, for me to send her the email to bind this policy, and then we will get the invoice. But I guess we can vote to pay it, so when we get the invoice, we can just get it paid.
well, I
Sure.
second the motion. So we've moved. Any other discussion about the directors and officers' liability insurance?
This is in line with what we've been paying right along.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Sounds okay, Bob? Good. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, Bob?
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 Right,
Thank you. 600. Beth, you're authorized to.
Hey, this is John Ritter here. I think you have to do a roll call vote because Bob's online, so everybody has to do a roll call vote because you're online. One member's online.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh.
Because Bob's online. Yeah.
Because Bob's online.
That's right.
Okay. We should go back and take a roll call vote.
Right.
Motion was made and seconded to pay the bill for directors and officers' insurance, to authorize Beth to move forward. Cheryl?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Kirk?
Aye.
Jonathan? Aye. Beth?
Aye.
Bob?
aye.
600. Thank you. We are trainable. All right, budget and other matters. So the administrative support for the EDIC, we talked about that a little earlier, to try to assist, not just in meetings, but also getting our records together and helping out with those kinds of matters. The EDIC has had that support in the past, but not for at least a dozen years or 15 years.
Can I interrupt you for 1 second?
Sure.
Can we, as Beth's financial request and everything came from the last meeting, and Robert is sitting right here, can we address that before we go on to something new?
How would you say that? What is the subject?
We need to address that mass development forward us the funds to pay for an attorney to look at the corporation paperwork, the bylaws.
Do you want to take that up first?
Well, it's been hanging there for a while. If you want us to get the answers to all the questions, we need to ask the attorney, why wasn't all of that paperwork filed with the Secretary of State? What was the advice? What are the ramifications? We need to go through. So we need to talk to an attorney, and the attorney's the money.
All right, let's put that on the table and resolve that. So the issue is clarifying our corporate status and the necessary filings, which may or may not have been done in the past, and to have legal counsel support us to do that. Right, Beth?
So what we were able to find was some conflicting documents as far as, are we a corporation? Do we need articles of incorporation? Because there are, and I found one document that says we fall under the town. The town is saying no. So there's really no formal corporate resolution, bylaws, articles of incorporation as to what we're authorized to do, who's authorized to do what. And it sort of came to light when we tried to change names on the bank account. And so we typically need a corporate resolution. There's a lot of confusion. So then we started searching, and it seems like it was probably almost 40 years ago, 30 years ago. It was reviewed by an attorney, but nothing was ever filed. And I don't think there was ever really a conclusion as to what we are. And even though we do fall under the town, I think we still need our own articles resolution. So obviously we're going to need to engage an attorney to draw up those documents.
Couple of things. You're not gonna get an answer from me tonight.
Okay.
We went on the Secretary of State's website, and tried to look up the Belchertown.
Yeah, it's not there.
But the funny thing is, there's only two that are there. That's Boston and I believe Taunton, that are there. So we're not really sure if the law requires you to do that. But once again, I'm not an attorney, so I can't say. We did kick it up to our, which I told you this morning, we kicked it up to our legal
Right.
office because they had concerns also early on about the resignation. To a point of fact, as a EDIC, you also need to be certified by the state, and that's HFC, one of the executive officer of communities and development. They have a record of you as well. This doesn't require, from someone who worked for a redevelopment authority, we had our accountant do it every year whenever we filed our annual report. Any changes to the redevelopment. But an EDIC is different from a redevelopment authority. So I have no idea what paperwork needs or is required for you to file. So I would suggest that, once again, I'll work directly, or Tim will work directly with you, Beth,
Okay.
and our attorney, who is Tristan Foley. You want to see them on the email. I follow up just with a question, can we get a response? I'm not sure, because even when I talked to Taunton, it's a volunteer. In my case, like I said, with the redevelopment authority, I had our accountant do it every time he did our annual report and our audit. He filed with the Secretary of State any changes to our articles, which usually weren't any, or bylaws, members. Someone should know and on record who your members are whenever they change.
And how in the past were the deed transfers done?
There hasn't been any deed transfers.
Yeah, there has been.
Registry of Deeds.
Yeah.
There have
EDIC is
So
the owner
who
of the
signed
property.
then for instance, Christopher Heights? Who's on that deed? Because
Bill
it's a-
Terry, I'm sure.
That's a land lease.
It's a land lease.
That's but even so,
But the
that
day
document
school,
would
we
have been
sold the
signed.
day school. The day school owner.
It's a.
That was a
it's
And
sale.
all of the other sales before that.
So once
And
again,
usually there's an opinion of council that we are duly organized, but.
We are to record the owners of record at the Hampshire County Registry of Deeds.
Right,
You know that,
we
You
are,
know that.
yes.
absolutely are that.
Yeah.
So then there should be, like you said, when that closing took place, someone authorized.
We voted and Bill Terry signed it.
Okay, well.
Well, yes, but
I know, but
My
there's no,
question is-
there's no legal document saying
who
who,
gave
how,
you the
who
authority?
gave us the authority to
There's
do
no-
that.
Well, there are actually. This is something which needs to be clarified.
Right.
There are legal documents which authorize that. The enabling legislation authorizes us to buy, sell, own property.
This, for an EDIC, you're absolutely correct, but once again, there's no documentation that.
That we
you-
exist.
Yeah.
That's why this needs to be clarified.
Right.
I'm not, we should not conclude tonight what is
No.
or isn't.
No,
Raising the questions is important, and Beth is going to pursue this. The
Right.
question tonight is, can we get support to use some of our budget to have a legal review of this? That's the question.
Well, the answer is.
you're not gonna give an answer tonight, you said.
I did say that early on.
Yes.
Because there's no cost. You don't want to give an attorney a blank check.
Correct.
no, absolutely not. No, but I did
I have no
did
idea.
reach out to you and Amanda several months ago. And Amanda said, yes, we definitely need to do this. And then, but she said she would defer to you. So, but if at Mass Development Council can at least
Give you direction.
give us some
And guidance,
direction,
some
and then we can go
guidance.
from there.
The
No,
other piece of this, and
Okay.
I thought about this earlier when you sent the email, you should also talk to Bacon Wilson, who handled all your transactions in the past.
it wasn't them at the time when the documents we found was not Bacon Wilson.
Really.
There
There
was
was
two
a-
different sets of
there was two
documents.
different-
Actually,
yeah.
Bacon Wilson was like the second.
That was like
But it was
later on,
Bulkley,
but
Richardson,
they
and
did
someone.
handle everything, you're right, from
It's
from
just
when
a
I was
question.
before
It was
that,
Bulkley,
yeah.
Richardson, and.
Bulkley Richardson, yes.
Bulkley
that's right.
Richardson.
I believe that.
Bulkley Richardson.
They may have also taken a wrong step by approaching it as if we were a business corporation recommending that we file as a 501c3 or 501c4,
But I
which is
have,
inappropriate for an E EDIC.
well, and I had found a specific document with someone stating they did not have to file anything because we fell under the town. But.
Right, and that's not
like
correct
that was
either.
correct either.
So here's the letters from 1993. from those attorneys. We've reviewed those, we passed them around, we can send them out. Again, I think it would be very helpful if Mass Development can give us some direction on this.
Absolutely.
And then we could take a look with an attorney, maybe the Executive Office of Business Development, under whom we are sheltered, not necessarily responsible.
Is it economic development or housing and community development?
No, economic development. I've spoken with their regional representative.
Would it be helpful if I sent Tristan some of the documents that I
It
found?
would be, and CC me on.
Okay,
Okay. And once we have a sense of direction, maybe we can seek an interested attorney to give us a sense of what it might take, and then we can see what the implications of the cost might be to do that. But along the way, we may have more clarity anyway.
And they may be documented with the state, as I said.
right.
Whether it's economic development or housing and economic development, there may be some documentation.
Right.
When you were looking at the others to see, because one of the things I'm reading in the legislation as well as formal things, that there should be an annual report filed with the Secretary of State. Now, we give an annual report to the town.
But you never just want to just-
Yes, well, I don't believe that.
I don't believe so either.
And this is the thing, the same thing with filing taxes and all of that. We've never done any of that. And, so,
Again, considering how long it's been, it's a little messy, but we'll figure
I
it out.
can't hear you, I'm sorry.
yeah,
It's okay. Considering how long it's been, since we're talking 1993.
93, yep.
It's a little messy, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Let's be clear, you're not the first ones to come up with this kind of issue. There are other EDICs that have the same issue and certification, but we'll figure it out.
Well, that's part of why I'm curious about your answer. This is the only EDIC you work with.
No,
No. And when you run into these issues with other EDICs, they have not come to you and said, could we use some of our funding to speak with legal?
no, most of them were pretty simple and they figured it out. I can tell you now, the one in Taunton has gone through a legal because they didn't file taxes as well. It's an 18-month, not only because they're closing out.
Hmm.
So when you close out, there's certain documents that need to be in place because you've made sales, you've taken on funding, or we've taken on funding in your behalf. So there's a certain method of closeout. And as a certification, I think you're a 504.
That's
So
a
there's-
political, 504, is that a political organization?
we should be a 501c6, which is a municipal
That's
nonprofit.
right.
Well,
It's not a 3 or a 4.
okay.
I think it's a 6 as a municipal nonprofit. It's a very special classification.
Again, I'm not an attorney. To answer your question, when you come to closing out, this is where it gets really messy and it takes a long time and you like to do this ahead of time.
Right.
So you want to be ahead of the game as opposed to behind when you're trying to close out. And you do have to hire an attorney to go back in history and figure it out. That's what we don't want to do. That's what I'm not going to do here. I'm doing it at home.
I'll put this out there. I would think that mass development, it would be prudent for mass development to want to see this done, because if we find out that we're not real, or because we haven't filed all this paperwork, it's moot, then how do we pay you back for the money?
Oh, here's the thing. We are going to figure it out.
Okay.
Okay, we have
Sooner rather than later.
sooner rather than later. We're far away from closing out anything in Belchertown.
Right.
So we're gonna figure it out sooner rather than later, okay?
Thank you.
To answer your question though, I can't give you an answer right now and just go ahead and hire an attorney. Our attorneys may do it themselves. I don't know. It's in their court.
Yeah, it would definitely be beneficial even if they provide us with a list of what needs to be done, and then we just kind of go from there. Yeah, you're right.
We work together to get.
Right, or we work together to get
Form a
it done.
checklist and just go
Right.
through the checklist and get it done.
Okay, so
Is there a timeline for that? Sorry.
I would say you want to do it, as I said, sooner rather than later. This is not, well, I'm not gonna say this because I'm not an attorney and I don't know what needs to be done. We should do this within our memorandum of our amendment, the 12 months.
Right,
It could be done within 12 months, or at least we have a path and know what needs to be done.
right.
So this is a structure that we established. I don't think Mr. Jenkins is proposing we take 12 months. This is a structure we established with Mass Development for this one-year extension with a set of goals and objectives. And in that context, to move it forward as best we can quickly.
Right. Now, mind you, this wasn't in the MOA, but we're gonna make sure we add that as one of our activities to get done and completed.
Okay, so we've got differences of opinion from different sources and different models out there. And it may be true that there are different models that are possible. My research indicates that nobody knows the answer.
So,
I'm serious.
sounds likely.
I had a conversation with the regional director of the Executive Office of Business Development, under which office our legislature established us and the town established us. And he was delighted that I called him because nobody's talked to him in 3 years from any of the EDICs. He knew about 2 of them in Western Massachusetts in the 4 counties. But they're off on their own. So this is something that needs some research and some of it has been started. And we're going to keep it on the front burner.
Do you have a name of that person?
Yes, last month I mentioned him. It's Mr. Paul LaPierre. And I reported on that phone call I had with him at our last
What is he,
meeting.
Mass what?
Mass Office of Business Development. He's the regional director.
Is he in the Springfield office?
Yes. I mentioned that at our last meeting. Okay.
So just, is there, at this point in time, would it be beneficial for you, for Beth to get the contact information for legal counsel at Mass Development? Or for them to contact Beth and
He has that information. I put it on the email.
It was on the email.
she does,
Okay.
okay,
That's on my
My
work,
email.
that's on my work email. I'll get it.
great, all right.
Good. Okay. Sherry, anything more on this matter?
No, I just wanted to be sure.
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
No, I won't.
Mind your own business.
This is AI, right, Matt? Participating already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, great.
That's embarrassing. It's like your kid coming in, or never mind. Okay. Mass Development's report of accounting. I did circulate this. We got this yesterday, I believe. And Timothy has compiled this one-page report on our status. It's a financial matter, which is why we might bring this up at this time. And I'm looking for my copy of that. I know I have one.
I can share it.
Yeah, no, I got it here. Somewhere. Too much paper. All right. Beth, you want to take it for the moment, please?
What would you like me to do? Just sort of run through?
Yeah, just the highlights of that.
So they started with fiscal year 12 through fiscal year 25 and total sources primarily from grants totaled 15.7 million. And then our uses are the salary expenses to Mass Development total for all the years is 3.7 million. The other significant expenses, you got demo and remediation, engineering, infrastructure, and then all your miscellaneous. So we got total uses of 19 million, which leaves us with a deficit of $3.3 million as of June 30th.
Okay, so some questions were raised in my mind about that. And I think what it would be good tonight would be for us to bring forward the questions we might have about it, and how it's calculated, et cetera. And both for clarity and also for accuracy. I'll put the first question on the table that I had, which is, there's a big block of time in there all in one column, right? Is there backup for that that shows us all of, okay. Would it be possible for us to get that also? I understand this is a summary, but it would be helpful to see how that accrued over time, and does it, and is it possible to attach it to specific projects? All of these, I mean, the last of which was the power plant coming down, and
So let me answer, so I understand, because of course I see it. The block that you're talking about is in the first column where it goes for that 10-year period, right?
Yeah.
We can provide the backup for that. That's not a problem. Matter of fact, every year.
Yeah.
That, the previous years you've asked for, your accountant has asked for a financial statement. So we provided that every year, just FYI. So that's not a problem. The power plant would be in the last column, which I believe is in that fiscal year, correct?
Yeah.
All right. So all that has a backup.
right, the intent was just to tie it to the projects.
I'm not sure if all of them can be tied to a project, but
Then that should be clarified in terms of this, the rationale or the reason for the. Okay.
so let me ask you a question now. Curious. Before I was here, who was this guy? You've had so many now that I think about it. Before Richard, before Jennifer, it was Claire O'Neill. Before Claire, it was, what was the woman's name? Why do I think Mary Beth something?
The woman
I don't
who,
remember anyone before.
the woman who killed, never mind.
So, I mean, we have that documentation, so we can go back.
Okay.
Yes. But I
And
just
that would
want to
help
make
us.
clear, we're going back.
Right. And, okay, so I don't want to dwell on that. Let me just ask other questions that may have come up when people have seen it. Sharon?
Yeah, I'm gonna suggest that we separate the, if other people have questions too, that we go with income and then expenses,
Go right ahead.
right, so we're not hopping back and forth.
Yeah.
To just establish something. Can you tell me in the sources of funds, just direct me to where are the sales and the rent, the land lease or whatever, where are those funds in this?
So for the income from the rent or the leases, that's under other operating revenues.
Okay,
I believe the value for Christopher Heights is $3,700 a month. So you can see it, and there's some annual increase of some small percentage. So that's accounted for in other operating revenues. I'm not sure about the sale of properties, but we can look into that, unless you know Robert offhand.
Because the only sale would have been for
The day school.
the day school.
Correct. Right, in the current era.
They're gonna meet us.
well, the only,
This will only cover out during
Yeah,
our
not
relationship with
before,
Mass
right, with
Development.
the relationship with Mass
Right,
Development.
it's
right,
not
it
gonna cover
doesn't
the,
cover any of the buildings that were prior to,
Correct.
so we know where that.
correct, I was
Right.
trying to be biblical. Go
Thank
ahead.
you. That's my, so day school, where might that one change be?
The sale.
The sale of the day school, where is that lump of,
It would be in the income, but I don't know exactly, when did that take place?
I would say it's within that 10-year period.
10-year period. That's where it would be.
Yeah, so getting that detail would be helpful for us to see how this accrues and on both sides of the ledger. Yeah.
And when I.
So it's in other operating revenues in
The
the
block.
I
lump
don't
sum.
remember what the sale price was.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to look it up, but
I have to look it up.
Yeah.
75.
Documented, I'm sure. I have to look
The
it
day
up.
school I thought was 2019, but I could be wrong.
No, but it wasn't in 75,000. Isn't that what it's sold for?
Yeah, I can't recall. I don't recall.
We can find out. You should just, as we're taking these notes down, so whatever questions you have, we'll get
Good.
the answers.
Good.
But you were here for Christopher Heights, right? Yeah, because
Well, then here for day school.
no, that was
That was
before.
before the day school.
well, it was, I know, but I
They've been
mean,
here since 12.
they're the ones that are getting the
Right.
land rental.
Right, but he says that's
They're
another
gonna-
operating revenues.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's already
So
addressed.
we already adjusted that, yeah.
All right.
All right, what's the next question? Anybody?
Not as far as revenues, that was my only question is, all of these grants, there's no chance that, any of them are forgivable? No, and legitimate questions, a lot of them are after time.
Part of the EDA I know is, I don't know what the exact amount is, but over a period of time. But the other issue with that is that mass development over the next 9 or 10 years, we report out to the EDA, any sales, job creations, job retention, any investment that is additional private investment that has been made on that property. And that includes anything on Carriage Drive or Industrial Road. So there's a period of time that we're going to be so much stuck with us, or we're going to be stuck with you, that we're going to ask for information as these sites or parcels are developed. We're going to need information to give to EDA, federal government.
But I think the question had to do with,
Free.
okay, I was gonna ask it a little bit differently, which is, since this is, maybe it gets clarified when you do a more detailed review, but are there other debts that we might have?
Right.
Yeah, as a result of our operating with you over the last century.
Anything that mass development has done is an investment and it's considered a debt. It's not free.
Right, but that, you've
So
got
the
that
grants are
catalog.
not, they're not actually grants, they're loans?
The only one that would be, actually, they're all written like loans. They may say
So
even.
So
when
why do
you
they call them a
apply-
grant?
That's a change in the language from decades.
No, but some of them are given as refundable grants,
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
which is why I'm asking. Is any of that in the 3.3 million?
I don't think so.
So that's why I asked, what other debt do we carry?
Yeah, let me ask that specific question.
Thank you.
On the 3.3.
Okay, so that's the top half of the page. I don't know, anybody else? Questions on the top half?
Maybe at the next meeting, Steve?
Well, I think that's an interesting question because you do have a very specific call out of a bond, which we know is a debt that needs to be paid by somebody. I don't know where that is in their uses, but the rest of these are listed as grants, and if they were not a grant in the sense that we typically think of grants, then I guess where is that coming from? And what is that obligation to the EDIC in the town?
Right.
Couple of things, and we'll go back and check. But when you filled out for your grant applications and you signed that contract,
We didn't do that. Mass Development does that.
No, we did that for Parcel D.
they part-
Well, Parcel D, but the rest of the grants, we never actually filled out the grant application.
for EDA, we'll
Doug.
look and see. because
There were some,
There were some.
There were
right,
some.
Because Bill Terry had to sign on.
that's right,
We don't own the property, so
right.
you had to sign.
Yeah, he may have signed them, but
Yeah.
we did not complete the applications.
No,
They were always done by.
but I mass development, I'm sure. Sure. But I will find out.
So like the EPA, I'm assuming that's the brown, the cleanup and stuff. That is, that's an O, that's a loan. These aren't really grants.
Well, we're not
We
sure
have-
which
we're
are,
not
which
sure,
aren't.
Right,
Right.
we
Yeah,
have
find out.
never seen the paperwork, at least.
Well, no, we've seen it along the way, but it's not in the accounting where we can understand exactly where we stand.
Right.
So we'll find out. That's a
Okay.
question. It's specifically about the 3.1.
Okay,
And that's also something I think we should take note of going further, because I'll be honest with you. I don't remember specifically going over the detail of the grant application at meetings. Like Bill may have signed it, Mass Development, so I don't think I had a full understanding that it was a loan and not a grant.
Or a refundable grant.
And the transfer to Belchertown Fund from general fund. Can I get an explanation for what that is?
Sure. This is coming from a municipality, I was caught in this as well. Mass Development has its capital fund that they use for activities across the state. So they gave some of that or lent some of that to Belchertown. That's what that capital fund is. So for instance, our salary time here is part of that capital fund that they lend to Belchertown. Other activities that the grants or the applications for EDA didn't cover. EDA was a matching fund. We matched that fund. Okay, and it came out of Mass Development.
Is there a line that says mass development, capital investment?
I don't think it says capital investment. What does it say, Tim?
Yes.
Plus, in my experience, matching funds for grants
Or grants,
are grants.
or
You know,
donations?
they're usually not loans. You know, when it's a matching thing, it's like they want you to commit something. That's why they do a matching grant, because they don't want to pay the whole thing for you.
Right.
But generally, a matching grant is not a loan.
Again, these are matching funds, whether they're grants or loans is still to be determined, and we'll figure that out.
Okay.
Provide that information. Which line item, Carol, were you talking about? When we started talking about.
The Belchertown, so it's the last line item in the top half, which is more like.
Transfer to Belchertown
Yeah.
from general fund.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
what was totally transferred from Mass Development.
1.8 million.
So when you say transfer to Belchertown funds from general fund, you're not referring to the town of Belchertown?
No.
These are your internal accounts?
These are internal Mass Developments, internal accounts that was transferred to assist with the activity that happened here. Whether it was matching, we provided funding to do it. That's where it came from, our general fund.
We also have general. To be clear, this is not the town.
This is not the town of Belchertown, this is Mass Development.
So in our master agreement with mass development, what we're looking at here, what we're asking questions about is what's termed the dispersed funds. Is that correct? Funds which are,
When you give us some money to pay the insurance.
or whatever the funds are for, to matching or whatever.
That's where it.
Disperse, or your salary time, or it's the legal department, or all of that.
Right.
It's termed dispersed funds, I believe, something like that. And it's beginning to feel like that's a whole lot more than the number you put on the page, Tim. So let's get this cleared up in the next couple of weeks if you can, so that we can see it more clearly. And the questions that we ask then could be pointed to a path forward for the EDIC, so we understand where we are.
So in line with the same thing, just because I don't want to miss it, and you've already said something about your attorney, you know, like doing things like we can ask your attorney to do it. I feel like
Dispersed.
we need to know a schedule of fees, like what, you know, I get your salaries, but like when your engineer does something for us, what is the charge for that?
Yes.
When your attorney does something for us, what is that charge? It's only prudent for us to compare whether or not it would be less expensive for us to use Bacon Wilson over Mass Development's attorney. But because there's not a schedule of fees, and I'm sure there is, because you have to pull these numbers, had to come from a schedule of fees.
There was.
There was in
There
our
was
original
in
agreement.
the original agreement. I don't know if it's been changed since
It
then.
hasn't been.
Well, it has, I would assume it's been changed since
It has
2021.
not.
Same exact fees.
Our original, which was 2012. Why they did that, I have no idea. but that's what it is. So there is a schedule.
There is a schedule.
Can that be shared? Is it someplace?
Sure.
It's on the original mass.
If you don't have it, I'll make a
Yeah.
note to circulate.
I do remember seeing it
Yeah,
when we were reviewing.
I'll make a note to circulate the agreements.
We talked about it a little bit when we were reviewing it for the renewal. We did see
Yeah.
the schedule and we didn't know if that had been updated.
But to recap, the board has the detail that supports the numbers that Mass Development had put here.
No,
They're asking for it.
we're asking for the
for it.
details.
So Mass Development, you will be providing the detail that shows this is how we got to this number.
Yes, they've agreed to do that. The purpose here is not only to understand where we stand, but also for us to figure out, what do we do next? You know, next week, next month, next year, next lifetime. Because this trail of debt runs 30 years from the original, I don't even know, you'll have to actually verify this, at least from the original agreement date, but perhaps from the date of incurring the expense. You need to clarify that for us. It has to be in the agreement clearly, if you would.
I'm sure each grant has, or
Because we
loan
wouldn't-
has that timeline in there as to when. It's the same as like if a person gets a
Mortgage.
home grant, right, from the city, say they give them $10,000. And as long as they stay in the property for 20 years, so it's usually from the date you receive the grant.
Usually,
Yeah, I would think that,
but there's some
This
unusual
grant
aspects
has-
to this
right.
relationship.
which we don't have the details of each grant, how long, how long it goes for.
I don't know that we, with respect to the grants, I don't recall ever seeing a repayment schedule in one of the grants.
I don't recall seeing any of it, so, yeah.
The repayment language is in the original agreement. In the contract with Mass
Well, I would
Development.
think each grant would have its own.
You would think, but I don't remember ever reading that.
Right, because we haven't seen any of it. Like
We've
I
seen
said,
all of them, all of the grants.
I don't remember seeing any of them.
Yes, they've come to us. Bill Terry signed most of them. And whoever did it before Bill, I don't even remember.
There might not have been any before.
Moving forward,
Yeah.
will you be getting quarterly updates on this?
Will we be?
Yes.
Probably annually.
I think the question goes over there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's up to you.
annually, yeah.
Annually, they get them for the last 2 years, that was always requesting for your account,
Annually, you
Also
don't do
keep
it
it-
quarterly?
annually.
But also keep in mind that we're charged for their preparation.
Okay.
So the history was that when we first signed the agreement, in order to be able to track this, we were to receive a monthly statement along with notes from the Board of Directors of Mass Development for all topics relating to Belchertown. And that did not transpire as originally agreed. And so subsequently, I believe, a few years after that began, with repeated requests for it, we agreed with Mass Development, I think this was clear, that we would receive quarterly reports. And any page from the Board of Directors meetings, originally we were supposed to get the whole Board of Directors meetings, but then the agreement went to quarterly with any page that related to Belchertown, because the other stuff
That makes sense.
didn't matter anyway, right? Not our business. That hasn't been well maintained either.
So let me ask, Jonathan, these quarterly reports, are they, I'm confused. Were these board minutes, were these?
These are supposed to be minutes from the board of any discussion that related to Belchertown. That's where when we went to quarterly, we reduced the full board minutes down to
Just whatever.
any page on which Belchertown was mentioned. this documentation subsequent to that period, some of it, I guess, has wound up with our accountant or auditor,
Not board minutes. I mean,
No,
they
not the
would
board
give
minutes,
him
the-
An accounting of it.
the financial information.
Right,
But is it as detailed as what we're
No.
seeing
no.
in those
Just the
categories?
summary.
So that hasn't even, so we really do need to get this regularized. And if you can figure out a way to do, I think quarterly would be quite sufficient. But if you could regularize this in some manner,
I'm not sure quarterly is necessary.
I'm not either.
I don't think there's enough activity to warrant a quarterly.
well, you're our
report.
treasurer, you're our,
I think
Semi.
even semi would be okay. I don't
Fine,
think
if that
quarterly
works
is
for you,
necessary.
yes. But if you could find a way to
And
regularize
sort of
this.
time it so it's ready for the fiscal year end financials.
So I'll send the sort of the full history of these financials. I should get a new one within the next week or two.
Good.
So I'll work off of that, and that'll also include to the end of December 2025.
Okay.
So that'll be at the 6-month period. The fiscal year is to June 30th. So then going forward.
Yeah, that's
That
our fiscal,
sounds
that's
good.
our fiscal year.
Is that good,
Yeah,
Beth?
yeah,
Okay.
that works. Cause I gotta start getting everything ready for the accountant anyway, to get those couple of years.
Okay,
Who is our accountant?
Dan Haynes.
okay. Board members, anything else? Bob, anything from peanut gallery out there? Okay,
Sorry, I was muted there, Jonathan.
any comments about this?
Yeah, so in the past, we disposed of a lot of property. And we kept the proceeds and we had a slush fund to do more work, to develop more property, do more advertising or whatever it was that we had.
Right.
And we ran out of those funds. And the only reason that we exist today is at the feet of mass development. Without their help, without their money, we would have contaminated buildings standing there today.
Well, that's very important to remember. There was a reason we took this course of action. And in part, it had to do with how the state wanted to flow money to the EDIC. And the state usually does that through mass development. It's development corporation, right?
Yes.
And so 2 state senators locked me in a room and Bill and said, if you want more state money to do this is before the mass of elimination of the buildings happened. Almost all the buildings were still there, although a lot of them had collapsed. It's got to go through mass development. And we did not have the funds to do that kind of remediation and demolition work. There was no way we could have accomplished that. And so the state put us into this process, which is typical for the state. A lot of the state monies through the what is it, the bond appropriation each year and other special appropriations flow through both directly through mass development, directly to specific projects, and also through the grant programs are funded through bonds and other sources, and sometimes direct special programs. That's how we, as Bob was trying to remind us, that's how we entered this relationship with mass development.
What does that have to, I'm sorry, I think that's good information, but what does that have to do with what we're talking about, which is finances? It's not a bad thing, I'm just like, did I miss something? What was the segue?
The segue was that Bob had mentioned that we used to have our own money from sales of property.
Okay.
And we could clean up stuff or we would exchange property for infrastructure as
Right.
partial payment.
That's what we did a lot of.
We did a lot of that.
Yeah.
Sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. Wouldn't witness that triangle on 21 and 202, which left the town and the EDIC with problems. So in order to be able to move forward with the mass demolition and remediation, that needed to happen on the main campus, because we had sold off a large portion of the immediately saleable parcels. We had to build this relationship with mass development. And that was the reason why these debts have been accruing. So,
All right, so nothing here requires a vote, right, Romeon?
Okay.
Next.
there's no right or wrong, it's just,
Right.
that's how we wound up here. All right. We're gonna move on. I'm hoping, Tim, you'll be able to give us more clarity, and probably we'll have more questions, but at least we'll have a process going and move forward from this. Okay. Budget and admin support. We didn't cover the admin support part, Cheryl. We digressed from
Right.
early on from that. Kirk and I met with Steve about this to see if the town could, if we had some resources that we could apply to a salary, could the town provide the mechanism by which that could occur? In other words, we would pay the town and the town would hire a part-time person, et cetera. That didn't work out according to the town. That wasn't gonna work like that. So now the question is, do we want to pursue it? The town typically for part-time clerical, Steve has informed us, is anywhere from $20 to $24 an hour. If we hire somebody, we have, I don't know what additional payments we have on top of that, unless they're an independent contractor, in which case we have to issue a W-9 and
Yeah.
1099.
We're not
Whoops.
really in a position-
So does how that comes right back.
Yeah, I don't think
But we
we're-
don't have any employees right now.
Yeah, I don't think we're in a position to have an employee, unfortunately. It just opens a can of worms.
We're not in a position.
We're not in a position, we don't have the funds, period. I don't think it's a good use of our funds. And then someone we hire is just gonna have the history to be able to even know where to begin. And again, so now we gotta start issuing 1099. Is there any liability? Does it change our insurance? I don't know.
It was.
It's a good thought, it's a concept, but I just don't think we're in a position to have an employee.
But yeah, we don't want to have, not a direct employee. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it would be a contract, like an independent contractor type thing, but still, I'm just not even sure. How do you control their hours? Like, I don't know.
This is the worst thing in the world. I've hired employees, it's a headache. Unless you're big enough, it's not worth it.
No.
Okay, well, it seems like the sense of the board is to not take that direction. This was simply just an exploration to see if we could support the board and some of the tasks that we've set for ourselves. So we'll have to keep working at how we can get those done. So I guess Beth and Cheryl might have to think up something for helping down in the basement, right?
Yeah, that's definitely gonna be
That's
after we
kind of what
get under.
this was going to be a support for as an idea. What do you think?
Were we still ever provided with the retention policy?
Yes, we have been. Kirk.
Oh, I didn't see it. Okay.
And I believe forwarded it to all of us, the retention policy, but.
I don't remember
but he
seeing
didn't- It was sent to Kirk.
Yeah.
He stopped in to talk to Terry. Oddly
Okay.
enough, we were in there within 2 days of each other. And Terry is still anxious to come and sit right here and explain it all. In particular, like which type of documents have to be held for how many years, which, they're not all the same, it's all different. But I also reported, when I had mentioned, when we spoke about this at the last meeting, when Beth and I took on this charge, that I would approach to find out if we could get an intern, maybe an archivist intern, so somebody studying along those lines, and the Historical Association, we've gotten them in the past, something for them to put on their resume. And I spoke with our head librarian, Cindy Harbison, and she said that she could assist us with that. And pointing us in the right direction or offering up some names that she obviously gets contacted a lot about opportunities like that. So this is a further discussion on the part of the board. I mean, I don't believe there's anything, I mean, the formula for the ABOM isn't down there. You know, because you'd have other people looking at it. It looks like the ABOM went off down there, but the formula's not there. So I don't think that there's anything super confidential down there. Nothing's been put new down there, I don't think, in years.
For years.
Because, and which is another problem with document retention. That stuff is supposed to be in this building and it's kind of at everybody's homes over the years or on their personal devices. So that is something that Terry will address. And that's why I said, you know, stuff that you have, like even that insurance policy, it should live here in the building. And things like insurance policies, stuff like that, you know, obviously those go into that big file cabinet, which is practically empty. There's boxes and boxes everywhere with file cabinets empty. So it would be those kinds of things I think we would want to get in there into the building.
Is there a way for the town to store our documents electronically for us in a drive or a folder? Like if we scan them to them, is there somewhere they could
That's a
create
very question.
a folder?
Yeah.
Because there
So
should be
it's-
electronic
so
documents too.
It's an and both situation.
Oh, what? I'm
It's
sorry.
an and both
And both.
situation.
Yeah, it's fine if there's a file cabinet, but it's
Yeah, but if there was.
an electronic copy, a folder with that, you know, we could do chronologically, here's the insurance, a folder for, like, I don't
I
know.
believe the town system
The
does
MLAs.
allow like a folder and document sharing and all of that, so that we could all go and look at the big mass development contract and stuff like that, because on the other committees I'm on, we open up the thing right here, and we go in and look, and we can edit the documents and everything live, you know, right at the meetings. So but I believe, Terry, that electronic records don't replace that paper, God forbid, you know,
Well,
something locks up a server.
It's very different now, though. I mean,
Well,
even in the
business
banking
is-
world, we
business
don't
is
save
different.
any paper documents anymore except
Business
for the
is
note.
different, but
Like, we have a closing package like this and we keep that.
municipalities.
The rest is
But you
all
know,
image.
Terry can clear this up.
Yeah,
exactly.
So steps to get us on a track might be to, you've already met with Terry, right? Or, no, all right, so meet with Terry to find out whether she would want to work with you two directly for a period of time and then train the rest of us, or start with the rest of us to understand the basics. Even though we got the document, it's helpful, I know for me, to be able to ask a question or two as we go into it. But you really need to get to the point where you understand the system that we're going to use. I don't mean that you're not going to understand. I meant that we have then clarified what is the system we're going to use.
And the first step is the list of documents that need to be saved.
Yeah.
Well,
And then I guarantee you, we're gonna be able to get rid of most of it. And then where are we gonna keep it?
Okay, so all of those,
so I
Sure.
believe Kurt went in and talked to Terry and
Yeah.
talked to her again. I mean, I had explained to Terry that we had a whole lot of excitement going on, which is why we didn't bring her in when we asked, like, before the holidays.
Yeah.
So between the holidays and everything, Terry's prepared to come to one of our
Right,
meetings,
that's
talk
good.
to everyone, inform everyone what needs to come off of personal
Good.
devices and be here, so that any future people coming on EDC, any of the other people, like, all the things you've got talked about, you don't realize that you didn't personally hand it to Matthew and I. We don't have it. We don't have access to it. We can't make any decisions. We don't understand what's being talked about.
no,
Because there isn't any of that. And it should kind of all live in a place that covers, you know, his.
yeah, I would say that I am just waiting to be able to hand you the 22 gigabytes of information from my computer.
Well, so you get Terry here.
But we need to know what to do with it.
Well, I think
And how to manage it.
Cheryl's point, just having Terry come in.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Right.
That's the
No
first
problem at
step.
all.
It's the very
Yes,
first
I said
step.
the same thing.
And
Let's
then
do
Terry
that.
can guide us through the rest.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Kirk, could you send me that list again? I looked in my email, I guess I
The
don't
list
see
of-
it. The retention list?
Yeah.
When you get a chance, just if you could resend it to me. I didn't find it in my email.
Yeah, I mean,
Here.
yeah, I put it on the hood of my truck and a gust of wind blew it
How convenient.
literally down the road.
I didn't bring it. Oh,
But
wait,
he's got it as well. Yeah.
Is that it?
I can print it out. I don't know if that's the only thing we got, but that's a chunk of what I have.
Okay.
That if you email Terry, she'll send it to you electronically.
And is it? Yes, okay.
What's her last name?
All right,
Cameron.
town clerk. Moving along. Site matters, security, upcoming site activities. Anything on that, Kirk?
Nope, we're pretty well sealed up as far as, the last go round and
Yeah.
hopefully this time of year it's too cold for them to do any perpetrating. Yeah, we're okay there. By the way, Robert, do you know, I ran into Bob a handful of times at the site of the old power plant. And last time it was like, all they have to do is come here for like half a day and get the rest of this cleaned up. And did they ever, it's all shrouded in snow now, but have they been issued their final payment? Because I know that was being withheld.
I don't know if they've been issued their final payment, but I can find out. Like you said, it's all covered with snow now, but this was an issue that was raised
Yeah.
before the snowfall.
Oh, yeah.
Had they come out and did any?
Well, they had fixed the erosion issue, which is the main thing, but then they had all the, barriers and everything and stuff like that, which is no big deal. There was a bit of a mess down there and it was like, I talked with Bob and it was like a nice day and then a storm was gonna hit the next day and
You say you talked to Bob. Who's Bob?
from Mass Development.
No, that's
Is it Bob John?
John.
I can't get it right. Okay, John.
I'll talk to John now. and-
Yeah,
Matter of fact, I'll
thank
send
you.
an email now and just see.
Yeah, I would just, it seemed like it still was left hanging.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So coming up on our agenda tonight, we're going to start looking at the parcels and the sales process and possible developers, some of which we're going to talk about in executive session. But I'm going to suggest we start out with the topic of the appraisal for the property, which Mass Development has begun a process for that. So Robert or Tim, either one of you, if you want to tell us where that's at.
Tim, you want to go ahead and start?
Sure.
So,
Yeah, so we've elected to see proposals for appraisals for all the properties that are within Carriage Grove as well as parcels B and D,
Okay.
and in addition to the Tactile School. So it's about 13 or 14 parcels overall. Depends on how you include the 10, as I understand it, the 10 acres that is to be conveyed to parcel D.
Yeah.
We've received two proposals for appraisals. One is about $50,000. The other is about $59,000. They're both looking at delivery dates of mid-April, depending on when we give them the go-ahead. Am I missing anything there?
No, and then one's local.
Yeah.
I think Crowley
Crowley.
did one who actually did an appraisal on one of the properties, I believe, or a parcel.
Think so.
And then the other is Bonds, which is out of, Bonds is pretty big. They're out of Boston, I believe.
They're out of Worcester.
Out of Worcester. And then the other one's out of Worcester. The key here for us is that where we're willing to pay for this so that we can actually determine what the value is. However, I noticed in your agenda that parcel B and parcel D, you're looking to get a broker. So we're looking, if you are gonna move forward with that, we'll take the cost.
When you say you're willing to pay for it,
Sure.
we've discussed it at a couple of meetings. There are a couple of us that aren't, so
Are willing to,
pay for appraisals.
yeah. And we are only because, here's the thing, you get more value with the whole bunch. And so we were thinking that it would come in, at least I did anyway, between 35 and 40,000. Well, it's 55. Which is, quite honestly, the fact that they have to come out here and there are 14 parcels, even if.
Why do they have to? Why isn't a
Um,
broker's opinion of value, which is free, sufficient? They
because
use the same data.
They do use the same data, but I usually, this is personal. I usually think they're pretty objective. So I want to get at least 2 quotes to see what methodology they use, because you're right, a broker's opinion is sometimes is the same as an appraisal. Sometimes.
I mean, these appraisals are usually all hypothetical. There's-
Methodology is usually, no, not necessarily.
Well, are you looking for a per acre price or what are
No,
you
we're
looking for?
looking, we actually did 14 parcels. So we did per acre. We're looking to get a per acre price, but we did actually 14 parcels.
So why would we?
But it's still gonna be hypothetical because we
Why
don't
would we
have
do
a
that?
definitive.
Yeah, that's.
Hang on,
why.
hang on.
We do that. We did it because we want to know what the value is of a property when we're negotiating with either a developer or a proposed
But you can get,
developer.
so what you're saying is for that piece, you don't want to hire a broker.
We wouldn't, we don't. We hired an appraisal, just like we said.
Is that your usual process?
That's mass development's usually the process, as opposed to getting a broker's price opinion. If it was my money, yeah, I'd probably go ahead, it's less expensive.
So is it your money, I guess is the question.
You said we're
I
willing.
said, we're
No.
willing to pay, mass development, I should say, mass development is willing to pay for it.
Right,
And we
so there,
don't,
it's not,
that
it's
won't
not gonna be
become
on our
part of our
tab.
debt to you.
It will not become part of your debt to us.
Okay, good. It's recorded.
Heard Robert say it, and Robert doesn't
But this
say
was,
it.
this was part of our discussion. This
Robert
was
can't-
part of our
Robert said.
discussion and our rationale for asking.
You heard
the
Robert
question.
say it. Yeah.
In light of the earlier discussion, that's nice to hear.
Yes.
But we still should talk about how that fits into the process we'd like to establish with mass development for bringing the properties up for sale.
As far as.
So when you don't want to hire a broker, so process, bringing the properties up for sale, then you're advertising on Crexy and you're
Here's what we
advertising.
would do. In our idea, and I've discussed this with Jonathan, Steve, I think our slant is looking at an RFP for those parcels that we determined are available. And there are a lot of them available, including the schools, to do an RFP. Why? Because it's more transparent. For me, it does take a little longer, but it's definitely more transparent.
An RFP for a developer, not a broker.
So you prefer to
Mass
put out
development.
mass development. I usually preface that whenever I say you, I mean your company.
I get it. I just want it for the record.
Is
Once it recorded.
is preferring to, I will ask you after we get past this, what your methodology is for that, and the backup you have, that is a better solution, to put out an RFP, and you will not be advertising the property for sale. Instead, you're gonna put out RFPs for each one of the 14, the whole lump of 5 or 6 together. That's an awful lot of RFPs going out there. And you believe that RFP reaches more developers' eyes across the country than advertising on LoopNet or Crexy or any of the other typical places where commercial things get advertised. So I would love to hear your methodology for why you think that's better than just telling the world it's for sale.
Sure. Mass Development has a history of doing RFPs. We just did one out in Devon's, which is ongoing. They just finished the site visit on 15. Got a number of developers. Of course, some of them are what I characterize as people we know, the usual suspects. They look for the RFPs because they like the transparency. The other reason I think Mass Development does it is because this is what they're good at doing, putting out RFPs. They don't
Their
have to.
methodology.
Yeah, but they don't have to.
But Route 2 runs right through Devon's. Nothing runs through us.
Right, exactly.
Like if you're gonna tell me Route 9 is equal to Route 2.
I'm not gonna say that.
Or
No.
so,
However, my last part was the usual suspects. We get a lot of the usual
Like good
suspects.
usual suspects?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
usually.
can we, see, advertising doesn't preclude the usual substance.
It doesn't, but
So
it-
that's where I'm puzzled on this.
Here's the
Because
thing.
the
Cheryl.
wrong reason to do something is because we've always done it.
Well, the right reason for doing it, because of transparency, which I was convinced of, because believe me, initially.
So when you say, Robert, when you say transparency, that could go in a number of directions. Could you be more clear about, more transparent about the
Sure.
comment?
When you have nonprofits and for-profits looking at property, usually for-profits can probably, in my opinion, this is maybe not shared with Mass Development, can probably do it a little faster, but a lot of times they're looking for a bigger bang for their buck. They're looking to make money. Whereas a nonprofit, what we're looking for in all our development is most of the time they're looking for some type of subsidy, whether it's affordable housing subsidy or whether it's economic. We've invested infrastructure in here that we can't energize until we get a developer. So to answer your question, for us, the methodology, transparency of doing an RFP would be the way to go.
So why did we even engage with the broker than last year when we did? Because that was,
I thought that it would be quicker and faster, and I'll be the first to admit, it was a failure and a mistake. Wasn't my choice, but it was a failure and a mistake.
Let
And
me
it
see.
could have been- It's not all Mass Development's fault either. It could have been the broker we chose, but we only had two that responded, or was it three that responded? One was out of Springfield and couldn't do it because they felt it was too small. One was out of Connecticut, and then that's our commercial.
So we need to think about what's coming, the months coming towards us now. We have different opinions about how to approach getting the property
out there.
and underway.
But
Hang on,
understand,
let me finish, please. Thank you. I would like to offer that it may not be mutually exclusive. Well, maybe I heard what you said. Thank you. Thank you for that great idea. And I would encourage us to look for how we do that, because it's not going to happen in the next 2 weeks, but it could happen soon if we can find a way to do these things together.
Well,
So,
anybody can advertise on those two platforms. You guys can.
and we have, and they were.
there's
You
another,
guys are- Can I, let me
Go
just interject here. You guys are looking to actually do Parcel B and Parcel D.
Correct.
You can go ahead and do that. I'm not
Yes.
saying don't do it.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for those other parcels, Carriage Drive, Industrial.
Yeah.
We can take those two parcels out, and you guys can go ahead and do a broker. That's your choice. They're not.
You're talking specifically about the appraisal right now?
no,
Right.
the sales process of getting it.
No, I'm just talking about the appraisal.
Oh, sorry, thank you,
Yes.
Yes.
thank you.
He will not include those two parcels if we're gonna get a broker on
All
something.
right.
And that could inform us about how it goes also, because that is likely to happen sooner than a May appraisal. Well,
Yes.
Appraisal and RFP.
I'm not the real estate person on the board. I'd like to ask, how do we meld these two things in a way that's,
You can take that track on those two parcels.
no, I'm talking about on the rest of the property, the whole
We're
property.
talking about the whole thing.
That's what the town needs to be developed. And it's also a bit intricate in that it has to be integrated with us rewriting and creating a new master plan for all those 14 parcels, because ours is going to expire and it needs to be renewed. That's part of our requirement, both,
Which
and
we
our
will need
commitment,
funding for as well.
and a commitment to the town. And so the master plan will also have to inform what kind of development is invited to be in the property.
Precisely.
I got it right?
As we have discussed, our, 10 years is typical for the master plan. These past 10 years things have changed more in the business world in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Than in the previous 50.
Yeah.
And that's the rate we're going. COVID changed the way business operates. COVID changed the way we employ people. And employment is a key part of the economic development. It was one of the major drivers for establishing economic developments, but that's changed. Employees are not universally sitting at desks in office space anymore. So COVID changed it. Now AI is going to change it again. Those office jobs, likely, most of them are gonna go away. Because AI can do that. The plumbers and the electricians are good,
Okay.
but. So that's why our master plan has to come up, because some of the expectations for the number of jobs that'll be on site
It depends,
may not be attainable.
it depends on the type of development that happens on
But
the
that's
site.
what we need.
Service would tend to have more employment than clerical and
Well, obviously, we've
and
got a
office
fully
work.
staffed nursing home there. Wouldn't that be
For
lovely?
example.
And those jobs aren't gonna go away, and that's all part of it.
Right.
But there are other jobs and other
Correct.
situations there.
We're not
that-
gonna do the master plan tonight, but I think it's important for us to understand.
Right.
We're gonna have to do it for a new environment.
And I think we also clarified that we were gonna take time to review the master plan to make
Right.
sure that the existing master plan isn't preventing us from the
So-
current environment, rather
That's
than
it.
create a whole new wheel.
That is exactly why that master plan
We-
is
we-
key.
we need to
because
start marketing these
When you're
properties.
putting out the RFPs for type of development, we want them to, we're not looking for a carriage manufacturing.
Correct.
The times they are changing and we have to,
And let me say this, master plans do change
yes, right, all the time.
2 or 3 times.
Let me see if I can then give us a couple of steps forward, okay? Can we prepare ourselves to begin the master plan rewriting process at our next meeting? It means mostly structure. It may mean gathering information, but to get that kicked off at our next meeting, because it's going to be foundational to what we.
That's a really long meeting and we'll already have a really long meeting the next
Yeah.
time.
I just
And
want to
does that-
remind the group that you also talked about inviting Terry in to go over, paperwork.
Well, I still think we need to finish the conversation
Right.
about. the
I'm just talking
appraisal.
about getting it started.
We've gone
Well,
off
the
on a
appraisal they're
tangent.
gonna do.
Structuring
Right, so
it,
they're gonna do the appraisal, and when does the RFP go out? After the appraisal? So we're talking, this property isn't really gonna be starting to be marketed until the summer. May.
not
So
necessarily,
you said, so are you gonna put out the RFP before the
No.
appraisal?
We want to get it done.
but it may get
But you won't
advertised
get that
before the
until-
appraisal.
I'm with Beth. It's gonna be summer.
It's gonna be summer.
We've been in the game,
So-
we know.
So what, just to be clear in my own head, and the discussion's coming up, and Jonathan again reiterating it. While it is mass development's practice, why don't we use that word instead of historically we've done this? While it is your practice to put out RFPs as opposed to listing the property either with a broker or by yourselves, which can be done. Is there any, what is your methodology or reasoning for not running parallel paths, doing the two simultaneously? Mass development, you get the appraisal, you post it up on LoopNet, Craigslist, whatever, and submit your RFPs. And call for RFPs. There's,
Well, as a matter of fact, that's exactly what we did in Devon's. If you look at LoopNet, CoStar, the properties that we just did the RFP on, they're listed. There's nothing. It's just that we got a better response with an RFP. And as a matter of fact, 30 State Street is listed on CoStar. 30 State Street is listed now. It has been since I've been here.
The 7 acres.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah, no, but the whole, yeah, yes, it has been. It has on Prexy and CoStar.
CoStar.
It's on both of those. But, the reason I think it's important. I know you've got the usual suspects. I realize all of that. But we just need to cast the widest net possible. You know what this town just went through. What many communities did. And then right after we went through a Prop 2.5 override, which is not easy task, and it doesn't go over well with your community or anything else.
Yours passed.
Ours passed.
I'm in Easton.
By
And I'm on
21
finance
votes.
committee. Ours did not.
By 20, yeah, exactly, by 21 votes. That's how tight it was.
Yeah.
But with that, you're on a finance committee, you get it. Do you know how, you have no idea how much the windows, doors, buildings, everything are being rattled in this building by the community. All of the members of this community, anybody that's got anything to do with spending a dime, they're screaming at us to get businesses into the area, and they're not seeing anything. They've never seen a for sale sign, they've never seen it advertised, our community's not seeing it. We have to prove to our community that we're doing something. And that's why I'm asking, the citizens are never gonna see an RFP. They're not gonna see that. Most of them aren't even gonna see it on CoStar or anything else. But at least we can say we're doing everything possible. And I don't feel confident saying that to our constituency right now. I don't believe we are doing everything
Okay,
possible.
so let me see if we can find where the path forward is in this. What can we do? And I'd like to ask both of you to consider, how do we meld these two things? There's no ground lost for mass development to take the appraisal and issue an RFP, but there might be if that's the only thing that happens. There's no ground lost if we begin to look at how do we advertise soon, but there might be if we're not ready to respond to interest that comes in, if we're not set up. We need to marry these two because both can bring us more together, probably more responses than one path alone. And I don't want to argue which is going to bring us more, okay? So I would ask our real estate experts to think about how do we bring the urgency that we see in the town, along with the RFP process and the appraisal that mass development is going to pay for, together. I don't know that you have an answer tonight, but if we have an answer at our next meeting and a path forward, do you have an answer tonight?
I'm not saying RFPs are a bad idea. I'm just saying they're limited. You ask the questions, the usual suspects.
Yes.
And that's a good thing because you want to have people you have good relationships who have a success record. And it is most key. When we cast that wide net, we're going to get a lot of people who are interested but can't make it happen. Look at Robert's face.
We've been having that a lot.
Exactly.
Not the only ones, but.
We've
Right,
got
yeah.
a
That's
whole
going to
history of
happen.
those.
But this is,
We have no leash. Like, you guys go to wherever you live, and we have to live here. And the people that voted probably, I'm guessing, no to the prop override are the people that have waited for EDIC to do something. So there's no leash. Like, these people citizens that now come, these are schools, sometimes they leave. So when we tell them, oh yeah, we're gonna get something in 7 years, that doesn't work for the people that are the core of this town, that stay and live here for their whole lives. And we keep getting our taxes boosted, because I do. And we aren't,
Two.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. We all do, but you can't go with them. Yeah, 7 years.
That's,
7 years of what? Like,
Well,
we're just.
and I know you guys love affordable housing, but that's a tricky subject to sell the town because that's just gonna raise our taxes too.
And that's a lot of education too.
It
And that's
is.
a lot of education that we have to go back through. A lot of people who believe affordable housing is actually subsidized housing, and they're two different things. And that's that'll end up being part of my job if I continue in that
But
role. Communicating, you know.
That's happening in
the
every
difference of
town
those
though.
things.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the multifamily projects we do at our bank, these developers, in order to get their approval, have to have a certain percentage of affordable.
Oh, I know, it's
They have
something you can't
So
say.
many, you
Well, and not just
get
that.
away from it.
So, but
It's
what's
the
the,
tax credits that you get
what's
that
the
makes it
cherry on
more-
top?
It's
that's
not
the
even
cherry
that,
on top.
but it's not even
No,
that
it's the
either.
cherry on top.
Okay.
It's to get the
Okay,
permit.
okay. Comment over
Steve,
there, Steve.
please.
Steve.
So if I could just inject, I think it's very clear, in my mind anyways, that there's a lot of frustration with EDIC, and I've heard the same frustrations with the select board, to be quite honest with you. You know, I think the point's very clear. We want something to happen very quickly. And, you know, I can remind everybody in this room, we have an MOA to sign in October. We only get a 12-month MOA. So I guess the question going back to Robert is, what are you going to do to speed this up? You know, what are those steps? You're gonna do an appraisal, that RFP is gonna go out the next week. You know, how do you anticipate getting us to a point where we feel good about an MOA in October?
Thank you.
all good questions, Steve. I can't come back with a schedule.
Mhm.
I know we are convinced on an RFP. But there's nothing to say, as Cheryl brought up, there's nothing holding us back from doing the dual process.
Right.
As I said, we just did it in Devon's, and I get it, Route 2 is not 202. However, we've always advertised Parcel F. Let's go down the path. I can't give you an answer right now, Steve, because I'm thinking about it. The other piece of this is that we have an industrial parcel, we have housing parcels. I don't know if I should say this out loud. Don't
Can you
hold me
speak
to
a little
this.
louder?
I don't know if I should say this out loud.
Oh,
We'll say it louder.
Why I'm whispering. Okay. We do have a housing piece of our master plan.
Yeah.
We also have an industrial piece of our master plan. It is feasible and possible for them to take two separate tracks.
So my question to both of you is, how do we get that started?
Can I bring up
Maybe we're
something
not gonna
too?
answer that.
Exactly.
No, but
Right, but is there any way we can start to, because let's put it this way, the people don't know our Brisa deal is dead. So people aren't probably thinking that this is available.
They do
What?
now.
Well,
You just
I
announced,
was already,
Thank you.
you just, announced-
Thank you, Beth.
it's okay.
whatever.
Well, I-
That ended at the end of December. That contract expired December 31st, so
We've been talking about that. Okay.
so no one realizes it's available. How do we get that word out there? Let's,
Yeah, I think going back to my comment, I think the point is very clear. You know, I've had conversations with Robert regarding the select board's expectations. I think the EDIC's expectations are so clear that it could have been delivered with a sledgehammer.
Crystal.
So I would suggest that we give Robert some time to speak to his uppers and come back to the board, because otherwise we're just gonna be.
Right.
talking about-
But we have a
Yeah.
responsibility also, Steve, if we're going to be an active player, if we're going to try to move things forward, maybe as an adjunct or on a parallel track, we have a responsibility to be able to do that well and do it in a manner that's properly controlled and successful. And I know Matt has been thinking about how we would do parcel B and D as a structure for how we could do more. We need to be ready to do our part as well. Okay? If we're going to be active. Mass development is what it is. Mass development does a number of things differently but they don't do everything differently. And we have undertaken already that we're going to start moving property forward. Although the town may feel like nothing's happened, we've spent quite a few years getting Parcel D and Parcel B ready to be sold at every meeting, working out outlines and surveys and things that are needed in order to be able to even put it up for sale. We're ready and it's going to happen, but it's not happening because there's been a lot of work put in behind it to make it ready for sale. I want to say it that way. Because,
So
you know,
more to come, but
okay.
as soon as possible, right?
So can I ask the two of you to continue your conversations you've said you are already having about how we could do this? And as soon as possible, we bring these things onto a common track or parallel tracks, so it starts to happen?
Or he's,
I don't
like,
know.
he's doing an RFP.
Yeah,
like,
We're doing our appraisals.
They're doing their appraisal, they're gonna
And we'll
post, then
take
they'll
out-
post their RFPs, and
Right.
they can post on CoStar and everything, which he has said that they will do. So I don't know what else you want now.
which is,
What else would you do? Would you do something else?
as long as they have signs up and stuff like that.
So you want some signs up? Okay,
They want it sold too.
We do.
We had signs years ago that remember we spent all that time coming up with the logo. There were signs for Carriage Grove. I don't know
Yeah,
where
but
they.
those were EDA and they wanted their names on it. You know, that
Oh.
was part of the,
Okay.
Exactly.
that was EDA.
I
As
thought
long as you're on CoStar and stuff like that, and you put signs up and you're offering brokers compensation, that's pretty much.
But that, I think.
Okay.
I think that's a great idea because we talked about putting signs up even when we had SR commercials and we didn't like the signs they put. But I'll bring that back
And,
because we
And
can
We're gonna have some wayfinder stuff. It should
right, we're gonna
kinda-
have all of that, and
it
we
should
have
flow with that, so
no,
it doesn't
and, I will talk with you about the other, when we get to the communications piece, but the signage, going up, it basically like simple, keep it simple,
Yeah.
That's basically what we're gonna need. We can have our whole
More
project up there, but yes, the town wants signage and,
It'll help us not get killed.
it'll help us
And it
greatly.
shows a presence. They get it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
From a-
And
Yeah,
I'm just
but I
trying to
mean-
tell, like Jonathan, that's, you're asking what
We
we would
can
do
do parallel.
locally.
Exactly.
What they're gonna be doing there, what we
Exactly.
do locally.
Yes.
It is going to be, once we
Let's
have,
coordinate together though, especially on the, because the signs are bringing.
I absolutely agree with you. We have to coordinate together, but
Good.
what we need to do in the coordinating and the signage and getting the word out there, and then we're gonna be putting press releases out
That's
there.
what I was gonna say.
And that
And I
will
think it should come
fall
from
on, fall on,
EDIC.
and we're putting it together. I think we, the EDIC, with the cage rattling and everything that's happening and the pressure that's being put on the select board and others, and the school committee and everybody that needs funds from the taxpayers, I think we should invite the public in, especially given that, we've kind of guarded this piece of information for a while now, but it needs to, it's gotta get out there. So let's control the spin of it getting out there, and in doing so, we can think of all these people who, we have a lot of very successful people in this community. We've got a lot of very wealthy people in this community. Let's get them being aware that this is happening and they can cast their nets. So I think we should have a public invite, we're going to be redoing our master plan. Come on in, give us your ideas. Let's go what you've got going.
Because I know you mentioned the master plan and redoing it. My concern is, and I don't know this for a fact, but DCAM may have to be involved in that.
That's why
True.
the first step is
Exactly.
reviewing
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, let's review.
Review it,
Let's change-
let's review it. We don't want to have to reinvent the wheel.
DCAM
We
has to
don't have
approve the master. That's the only
The one
involvement.
that exists.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that any changes
Yep.
I believe the changes have to be approved at town meeting as well.
As well,
Right.
that's correct. It has to
Right.
be.
That's why we're gonna review it and make sure there isn't any roadblocks in the current plan. If there aren't, then
So if
Okay.
if there's any thoughts of trying to redo it this year, then we would need to have it ready for the May town meeting.
yeah, no, that's not gonna
It's
happen.
probably not gonna happen.
So,
There are minimum requirements that you can't put in the property transfer, so we have to be cognizant.
yes, I know that, and that's what I was talking about how the times they are changing since those minimum requirements were put out there. But again, taking that, the decamp, the town meeting into effect, the town is reviewing, the town, fortunate, got a hefty grant, and we're reviewing all the zoning bylaws throughout the town, both signage and regular zoning bylaws. So this is the time, if we want to suggest any zoning changes, as we just did, with Parcel D, at town meeting, to get that zoning changed.
The whole property was changed.
I understand.
Right.
But
right.
what I'm saying is there are other zoning classifications that we could, as what happened when we had Doug here, and what we were allowed to do by right, and what would require a zone change to do. So while we're in the process of RFPs, looking at the master plan, realizing what's out there, if it is determined that maybe a spot, a specific zone change that would allow for an extended type of business, we should do it at the same time if possible. That's all.
Okay.
Right now, it's
Good.
assembly only.
Good. My last question on this is whose phone number goes on the signs that we're gonna put up and
Mass development.
Mass development.
I would say mass development. And this is why I think it's important that we kind of work together.
exactly. That's why I want you two to figure this out with them so that we have a unified process for all those leads that come in. Right.
Yeah,
It's not a difficult thing.
it might just be a monthly phone call, see what's going
Could
on.
be just so, and we'll talk about that because we're keeping a tracking list as well.
Which we're gonna talk about a little later.
And if it's a situation where they get the call and Matt's real estate, I'm real estate, Bob's real estate, any one of us, if your availability is not there and they want to see the property, walk the property, I would think that would fall to our real estate seat specifically.
Sure.
If it's an industrial corporation, maybe with all the industrial experience,
Okay.
they would handle that one.
Steve?
Yeah, just one other thing, I like to keep the select board and the EDIC involved in any efforts as well. So if you come across any events that you think it would be appropriate for us to attend for networking,
Absolutely.
because I think networking our butts off is going to be helpful as
Good.
well. So just please keep that information coming to us.
Good.
And on that same note, the press release, we have our marketing and press release people. If you're thinking about doing a press release or what, let me know and I will connect you with Kelsey, who is our press person. We can actually do a press release. I'm not sure, and we can talk about this, what type
Okay.
of press release you're interested in.
Right.
We can
But it
also-
should be partnered. I mean, mass development should have a voice in there too.
Yeah, we have a communications manager, to Lisa's point.
And we do too.
She's absolutely right.
Well, I work with Kate, so.
And so does the EDIC, so yeah, we should, if you could connect me with Kelsey.
Yes.
absolutely.
With Kelsey.
All right. I'm looking at the clock and we haven't hit the bulk of our meeting yet. If I may, if everybody feels okay about moving forward,
Yes.
I'm gonna trust our two real estate experienced people will stay in touch about this and with mass development on this, so that it begins to shape itself in a coherent but also productive way, okay? The next thing relating to this was whether or not we are ready for a broker selection process for Parcel B and Parcel D. Parcel B is ready to roll. All we need to do is take a vote and hand it over to the town in some appropriate way. It's my understanding, right, Kirk, that the maps are drawn, the pins are about to be in place.
Yep.
It's ready to be filed. We need to take a vote tonight to put it up to file it and put it up for sale. authorize the chairman to sign the documents necessary to do that. I don't know what's necessary, but whatever might be necessary. And get that rolling. So, Matt, you were gonna think about broker selection for these two parcels.
Yep.
Whether we'd have one or two, what's up?
This one, a small one that's pretty much ready to go. We still have to get things squared away with Parcel B, or I mean D. You know, there's some stuff I want to talk with you about.
Yeah.
As far as the road.
But you could speak with a broker about both parcels if that's a good way to do it.
I would speak, because this one, Lot D is not gonna get anybody excited.
Yeah,
right,
Just because it's a cheaper lot, so like we just talked about sharing, you really want somebody on Lot B, that's what they're gonna want. So you wanna talk to them about both parcels. I talked to Mr. Gould at Hancock, which is formerly Sherman and Frederick, about what size building's gonna be. There's gonna be a lot of restrictions on Lot D. So I think it's gonna be an affordable commercial property just because it's so restricted. Which somebody might pick it up quicker, it might be a little wait. And so.
Which one, that's the one next to,
Onto
Right, the intersection
oh, I
of
thought that
21.
was parcel B.
that is.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
thought you said D, sorry.
Yeah, it's the other
Okay.
side of
First
Parcel
sound
B.
alike.
So, yeah, we just gotta wait, and, I have a call into a bigger operation. And selfishly, I'm gonna talk to somebody in my office, just so communications would be open. I'd see what he would do with commercial. He's a commercial broker, because I think communication's key, as we just talked about with Mass.
Good.
So, yeah, and Mr. Gould I can't call him Mr. Gould, it's very tough for me, because I grew up.
Garrett,
Greg.
It's great.
Greg said he'd help out in any way, like,
Right.
you know, if a restaurant comes in, to give an idea of, you know, the parking lot and stuff like that, if we have buyers, if I approach them.
Is he's a broker?
He is, for the surveyor.
He's the surveyor.
Oh, he's the surveyor.
He's
So
Oh,
like,
okay.
if we
Oh.
Yeah.
talk to these two brokers, we have good relations with the guy who's gonna say, hey, this won't work.
This
here.
is, okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
Greg's been
Yeah,
all
yeah.
over that, so that's a good idea to have
Right.
that.
Here's what you could do, yeah.
And there's a lot of people in town know my father's a good asset for that stuff too, with wetlands
Right.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we have, you know, if we get somebody familiar, with the people in Belchertown, it's gonna be great communication and flow, I think, for both parcels. You know, and I think selling the bigger parcel is gonna be to an investor, because nobody's gonna wanna put that road in. So we're gonna have to find.
Right.
Like, nobody's gonna get excited by the price per lot that we're probably gonna have to charge us, because the expense of a road, as Mass Development knows, is skyrocketed.
Right.
So, like, getting some money is better than no money, so let's try to get this thing moving, paying some bills, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's as we've gone back and forth over it and realized that take off the rose-colored glasses, 2,000 feet of road is a lot of money.
Yes.
And so that's what I want to talk with you about is how we can shorten the road, yet still get as much in there as we
Bang for the
can.
buck.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, and I mean, it's tough, because even my father was like, oh, you know, we had something at the end of Stadler Street. He's like, oh, you know, if Home Depot ever comes, I'm like, listen. And finally, after like 3 years, now we have a great daycare in the back there.
Yeah.
You know, so Jitterbugs has been great to the town. So it's something like that. Sometimes you just gotta accept what you have.
Yeah.
And I think, if we're realistic, you know, we could get something good going.
Yeah. And that last phrase is the most important. Get something going.
Yeah, no, I know.
It can't be separated from being realistic.
Well, there won't be. It won't be. I mean, you know, somebody's gonna have to do the numbers on it, right? So it's gonna have to.
And the nice thing is, I'll be speaking with a broker, so it won't be like, it's not like speaking to a homeowner.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, when a broker tells me something, I can just be like, yeah, he's right. And it happens a lot. So, I think it'll be a good relationship, and once we establish who it's gonna be, I think no matter what, we'll have.
Because we're gonna have to contract with a broker, in terms of, we have to take a vote, so you need to
It's
bring
gonna be
us.
logistics, yeah.
You're gonna need to bring us, so we have to think about the timing on that, that's all.
100%.
Yeah.
And I'll benefits of both, and then we just take a vote.
Whenever you're ready.
No, I want to talk to them both before I.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I knew that.
I don't hire on looks.
I knew that.
I like money, not love.
Any other questions then from members about this mass development, anything?
But Robert, we'll need to, well, not need to, we don't have to. But I think that when we do list and signs get out there on that piece, which is right in front of you, you know, that's it may start generating at least some questions, some interest.
And I do an intro with that broker to you guys too, so you might as well have a relationship if you stupid.
No, but I'm, yes, because if you're going to offer, which I know that some of us have no problem paying a broker because 90% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Okay. We need to vote to file the map at the Registry of Deeds and to make official the transfer to the town of the remainder of that property. B on 202.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, I see.
They give
Yeah,
it to
transferring to the
Yeah.
town.
Because we're going to give gift to the town for fee simple or whatever you call it.
Right. We're just gonna section off the usable part and the rest of it's gonna be
Yeah.
part of the,
So the
warrant.
surveys are done, the
Yeah.
trail layout is done. Doug is still online if we can wake him up. Doug, just to confirm that we've got all the work done and it's ready to file and to transfer to the town, is that right, Doug?
Well, yeah, Greg just needs to finish up the plan to bring to the planning board so they can sign off on it. And I suppose Kirk is the one who will sign the application. Then, yes, you will give it to the town. And whatever that process is, our lawyer can write up a P&S and we can process it pretty quickly. We just did a couple of land donations for conservation, so this would be very similar.
Similar, and it is for conservation purposes.
Right.
And
So to be clear, the town's lawyer would take on the expense of preparing the deed? Or just?
Well, the P&S and then, yeah, eventually the deed. You guys are broke. You don't have it.
No, we don't have the funds
Right.
unless.
No, he has the funds from the trail.
Yes, yeah, you're all set there, so you don't need to worry about it.
No, he's gonna do it, he's gonna do it.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it, okay? We need to vote
Okay.
to have.
I thought that you guys said, you know, and even in light of the town and something like the town lawyer couldn't provide legal services for us.
Research, advice, but this is a transaction where you're giving us land.
Okay, that's what my concern was, is because you said that town lawyer could not work for us. Remember when we
Well,
asked him
The
about?
the researchers are not gonna give him anything. We're gonna give him that land
Okay,
along the,
so we just.
yeah.
they'll
So
report
the vote would have to be to authorize Kirk to sign the documents, to file the survey and the transfer documents to the town when prepared. Because the plot plan is there and that's what we decided to do. There won't be changes in that. And the pins will be going in as soon as he can hammer them into the frozen ground. Okay?
Well, before we go any further, Doug, in response to my question that I threw in this afternoon as far as the 40-foot rear setback, is that going to be detrimental to where we have it marked out now?
It shouldn't be. He shows the building envelope on that plan, and he's aware of your desire, as Matt just mentioned.
Okay.
To have a business there. It should work.
Okay. Well, I trust him with that. I just wanted to point that out.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I will make a motion that the EDIC authorize our chairman to sign necessary documents to file the plot plan to file the applications with the planning board and to file the documents
Record.
and
Register.
record the documents and file and file any other documents or record any other documents necessary for the transfer, the balance of that lot to the town. Is that correct?
Sounds good.
Okay,
Somebody's got to second it. Someone's got to second.
Second.
okay, thank you. Any further discussion on that? All right, voice vote again. Bob?
Aye.
Beth?
Aye.
Jonathan, aye. Kirk?
Aye.
Aye.
Matt, aye. 600. And there's your first spot for a sign too, when you get ready.
That's right. Straight across from the
Thank you all.
stoplight.
All right, moving right
Thank you,
along.
everyone. Do you need me for anything else?
We always need.
Yes, you need to stay till the end. You're not allowed to leave.
Well, let me go put on my jammies.
All right.
We're gonna look back and he's gonna have a noose around his neck.
Okay,
Thank you, Doug.
All right, I'm gonna
Bye,
go eat.
Doug.
All right, nighty night.
Parcel B status. Do we need to do anything on that?
No.
Letter of support for grant. Oh, that's the other thing.
Robert,
Yes, sir.
the Parcel D and the grant and the subsequent work that Ty and Bond has done thus far and is supposed to finish up on. You know, in talking with Steve and all, it's just obviously the shape of the parcel requires a long road to a cul-de-sac. And it's just not feasible to go as far as we would like to in order to maximize the number of lots and use of that land. So I was wondering if it was okay to talk with, I believe it's Alex Flaglin of Ty and Bond. I think he's the one that's handling that. Just to see where he thinks we could shorten the road to a cul-de-sac, yet make the most out of it.
Why are you asking me this?
Well, I don't want to step on toes, that's all, and I don't want to go above Amanda Newmiller. I mean, she's the one that's working for you.
Talk to Amanda Newmill. She's in charge of that site, right?
Okay,
And that grant specific.
right,
So you should talk to her.
directly to her, okay,
Directly to her.
all right,
All right.
yeah,
She's the one who is contracted with Ty and Bonds.
right. It seems as though going through Amanda for stuff, some stuff gets kind of lost in the translation. And I'd like to kind of talk directly to the guy that's behind I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah,
Amanda's in planning and she runs that program.
okay, all right, fine,
I can't speak.
yeah,
When you do that, I would suggest, Steve had some observations about how that property as a whole might accommodate the town right of way or access to the development behind. So
well, yeah, we had talked that we need to have some access
as you,
directly through there.
yes, so please
So-
keep that in the
So I
conversation.
would think that, when it fans out from the cul-de-sac, wherever that ends up, that the parcel that aligns with the town property and back will have an easement for the town to be able to access their land.
Okay. We've now come down to the section of, we've got communication planning with the board and with the community.
Right.
Sherry, do you have a short,
Well, we have the update. Did you,
Pardon?
I didn't Google search to see if our, Jim Kenny, not the other Jim Kenny, but the Jim Kenny from the Republican.
Oh, yes,
His
yeah.
story come out. I mean, he interviewed me and Jonathan, to write a story. because Munson Developmentals,
Institution.
Institute, their redevelopment, they've been telling, they're looking to Belchertown as a model.
Oh, wow.
No?
That's good. That's good.
That ain't gonna get us any peanuts, I'll tell you.
In any case, Jonathan and I both talked to the reporter who's going to be writing his story, and really did a lot of the groundwork for him. So when we're ready to have a story, have the publicity, we have the contact, that's ready to go. Have any of you looked at, the blurb that we had written, Kate, myself, Steve contributed with the line that if you're interested in serving on EDIC, that's become a part of it too. But it is up on the town's
Yep.
site. It's on our page. If you had the chance to look
Yes.
at that. I already informed you that I talked with Sydney about, records and stuff and getting a volunteer to be doing that stuff.
Is that gonna move forward fairly quickly to get the volunteer?
Well, it'll move, we first have to have Terry.
Oh, sure, yeah, right.
So when Terry comes and I've already, Cindy said she's gonna get me the stuff and I trust that she will.
Thank
So other than the Republican, since our last meeting years ago, we haven't posted anything new, but obviously
Okay,
that is always because we do have something very important to say to the community, but we have to wait until this meeting to say it.
okay, so, thank you. Last item on the agenda is development status.
Sure.
And we're going to have a conversation about the general situation around the status of the development. And then we have some work to do about how we want to approach that with respect to strategy and negotiations, et cetera, which we will undertake in executive session following. But initially, Robert, would you?
Just a discussion for a presentation by, National Housing Partnership, NHP, City Capital. As most of you know, should be aware, we sent them a letter back in October, November, letting them know, and I reported this out to the BEDIC back in October, November, that we had sent a letter saying that your contract null and void. Any exclusivity they had with any of the other parcels is void, no standing.
This was with Brissa.
This was with Barisa and ADC.
And
the
ADC.
major
The
parts
funders,
of the joint
Right.
venture. Since that time, Ahmad Graham, which most of you know, Sydney Capital, has talked with another group. And I don't think it's national, I think it's Neighborhood Housing Partnership. I put national, but it's Neighborhood Housing Partnership, NHP, who has some stake in Massachusetts. We made it perfectly clear to them and to the mod. This is delicate, that we wanted to see something from Neighborhood Housing Partnership as a lead and not so much through Sydney Capital, which is Ahmad Graham. I think they took that to heart. They responded to an email I just sent out last week, their senior vice president of real estate development. I indicated that I needed to talk to the BEDIC and to the town about the potential for them coming in by February 4th. They then acknowledged that a 2-week extension would be enough time for them to put together a presentation.
them being,
Neighborhood Housing Partnership.
thank you.
Okay. Once again, we made it clear to them, it's really up to the BEDIC and to the town how this goes. It's really your call. I'm just here to tell you and give you the most up-to-date information that we have on it.
So we've all done our research on National Housing Partnership
Partnership.
Foundation.
Mhm.
So now we have to research something else.
No, I just did NHP, which I think is them.
Neighborhood.
I just looked up NHP Foundation and it was them, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. And I'm puzzled, Jonathan knows that. I said, what are we extending? What are we extending? We have nothing. We have nothing.
But what you're extending is then we're giving you a proposal for
What they might do.
it is specifically for phase one, 105 units, which they would have to step into for Risa's shoes. But what does that look like? Who's the lead? Who's responsible and who's the lead and who's leading this?
What are we extending?
You're
There's no deal
extending,
to extend.
well, this is what their proposal should talk about. What is it they're sending? Are they getting ready in a year? Are they going for tax credits? Again, it's a proposal.
So
2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think we're
Just,
extending anything, we're just
We're not.
extending the
That's what I've
time
been
of them
confused about. We
proposing.
keep being asked for an
So
extension.
let's clarify that. When Brissa was informed that their agreement was null and void because of the withdrawal of the primary partners, which was the requirement, they indicated they wanted to still come and propose to us and asked for an extension of time to do that. They were told they'd have to show us what they were going to do and with whom and how they were going to do it. And that's where the word extension entered into the conversation. It's an extension of time to prepare a proposal to come see us. It's not an extension of anything else.
Right.
In fact, it has evolved into an extension, an extending of an invitation
More to the point.
to
Right.
NHP to bring to us something that they might like to do on our site. That's what it has
What does
evolved to.
that mean? I don't understand it.
You asked
I
about
think-
what is an extension,
I
I'm
know,
trying to
but-
explain that. Go ahead.
We're here. I want to say to NHP and Hamad Graham, we're rooting for you, bring it in, take all the time you need, but we're gonna market this property to everybody. So are you saying we're gonna hold off on marketing until they present to us?
No.
And,
What we're
okay,
saying is, let me be direct here. It isn't really an extension, it's really a new proposal.
I know.
Okay, what we're saying is, in order for us to move forward and have a path, mass development in the state, we need the town to kind of, and the BEDIC, to say, we're waiting for you. If you say no, then we're gonna move forward with whatever plan we come up with.
why do
For-
So the question,
For parcel for
I-
phase one, let's call it phase one, because everybody's familiar with it.
That's fine. Phase
We'll
one.
call it phase one, how we plan to move forward with phase one. Let me just say though, 2 weeks is not a lot of time, and if we can't give them 2 weeks, I feel strange telling them that they want to, because I've told them, you should hold off until we hear from the town and from the BEDIC specifically. You guys need to take a vote, whether or not you want to see them on the fourth or not, that's your meeting.
So this is what you're asking us. Do we want to continue to try and make a deal with Mr. Graham and NHP Foundation? And are we willing to give them the additional 2 weeks to come and present to us for us to go? It's getting so convoluted because they've had a lot of time. They know they have to come back to us.
There's no doubt about it, but let me just clarify this, Cheryl, because I want to be crystal clear with you. This is giving NHP an opportunity in 2 weeks to come forward. Personally, Hamad Graham, he's been around, he's been at it longer than I have.
So NHP has asked Mass Development in writing, for whatever, you have everything you
We
need to be
suggested to them
assured.
that in order for us to move forward, mass development to move forward, they need to come and see you. You could say, no, we don't want to see them. That's fine. To get to your latter part, we have an agreement with Mass Development, the BEDIC in the town for those parcels that we are appraising, not so much for B and D. We have an agreement with those. So yes, we will think of another path in order, within our 12-month extension, because we have one, how we move forward. Should you vote no? That's your choice. I'm not making that choice for you. That's up to you guys. All I can tell you is where we're at and what we think makes sense.
The
Well, I have
question,
maintained
hang on a second. The question to us is, do we want to, in this interim period, where we don't yet have the full marketing and everything that we talked about earlier set up, not just for phase one, but for the whole shebang, do we want to hear from anybody who might come in the door? And in this case, do we want to have NHP in the lead come to us and tell us what they might want to do? Or do we not want to hear them do that and just put the whole thing on the shelf? That's the question to us.
I didn't need that explanation. I understood him and I knew what we were talking
Well,
about.
I'm trying to,
Making
I clarified it for
the
myself then.
Public.
I
That's
clarified it
great.
for myself
You did it
then,
for
Cheryl.
yourself. I understand what that is, and I maintained all along, to Robert and all the things, we would be foolhardy to vote no. There may be feelings that one representative, right, we don't care for how things were handled, but then there's a new person in. My concern is knowing, we know really nothing about their corporate structure, NHP. We don't know how much of a percentage of this that they're gonna have, how that's going to be. All of that would have been great to convince people who wanna say, I'm done with this, let's move on, which is a feeling amongst people who are not at this table, but are part of the equation in making the decisions and signing paperwork, is that let's move on. We would be just foolhardy to do that. But even the last meeting, when we had talked to Doug, all of those permits are about to expire.
Is that February 14th?
They're all about to expire. And everything, so even though you would maintain, they've done all the work, they've got all the permits, they've got to get it, as in previously, the things are all gone, but.
They only have the site approval. They don't have any. They got site approval though, right? That's it. And conservation,
Concom.
So just, I guess I've been listening to all these conversations tonight, and what I've heard is we're waiting for April for an appraisal before we market these properties through an RFP and posting on.
May or June.
Right. So I guess the question I have is, NHP is one player. If Wind Development, West Mass Development, Wayfinders come in, would the EDIC entertain, hearing from them about different options prior to the appraisal and the marketing and everything else?
Absolutely.
And I guess if that's the case, then, it kind of makes me rethink my stance on NHP coming in. If we're not committing to giving them something that we're not going to give anybody else, if we're waiting for the appraisals anyways, then why not stack up as many developers?
I agree with you. I agree with you on that. I maintained we shouldn't cut them loose, but they needed a time limit. I remember it was one of the first things. Did he get back to you? Did they get back to you? Did you give them a time limit? Because they're saying, wait for.
February 4th. February 4th.
That's final.
I think in my mind, there was some question at the last meeting about what the intent was.
Right.
And if the intent is just to introduce themselves, and say we're going to be here when the appraisals are done, then that's.
We know who they are. Like I said, they have a stake in Massachusetts. They like to have a bigger stake.
Do you, because I asked around at some players in that market and nobody's heard of them. I mean, they seem like they've been around a long time, but.
They have, and mostly in.
Well, there were some Boston players, but yeah.
And like I said, they do have a development in Boston. Their main office is out of DC and New York, but they're in.
Well, I think, like I said last meeting, I think we can hear what they have to say, but we don't have to make any decisions.
Right.
We're just hearing what they have to say, and then other people can hopefully come.
And it's gonna look a lot better if they just come on their own
Yeah.
Because Hamad is not an asset, not in this
Well, we
town.
don't-
This whole thing. When I'm hearing this, it's like, of course we want AHP. It's Hamad that, if I understand right.
Well, and I think Robert made it clear to them that we want to deal with them. You know, we thought we were dealing with Bruce all that time, but we were not. So, you know, that
Okay,
was-
so some of this, I'm not sure whether we need to go into executive session to go into more detail about the strategy with these firms.
Okay.
Uh,
I think strategy
But
is
we've
good.
had a good discussion already about this to clarify
Yep.
the status of,
I think executive session's a good idea.
all right. And we've concluded all the other business on the agenda, except,
I forgot.
except
with-
one thing.
Well, with communications, if you want me to bring it up. Kirk, did you get an email from Abby about the summit on the 29th?
The Summit, I don't think so.
So I am on the Creative Economy Committee. And there is going to be like this first ever summit here. And we are inviting people to Belchertown Community Summit. It's a two-part event designed to bring together local organizations, committees, and community stakeholders to strengthen collaboration and support the Belchertown community. And they're going to ask local stakeholders to come on January 29th to hear directly from everybody. It was sent to chairs of most of the town committees to explore different opportunities for the community engagement going forward. You're doing, and this is the Creative Economy Committee, which is why I'm on both, to try and keep they're the ones that are doing all the wayfinding signage in town and that
Okay, yeah.
committee moving forward. The marketing plan with the state, the cultural district designation, which is going to dip down into us, which will enable more funding for a variety of things, you know, to be available. So I will be at the meeting on the 29th because I'm part of that committee. But I just wanted to let you know if you've gotten and it got that.
I didn't get it at this point.
All right.
But you might as well send it to him because I'm gonna be in South Carolina.
Yeah, well, it's gonna come from the town, it's not gonna come from me. It'll come from Abby, it won't come from me.
Okay.
That'll be sent
Just a
around.
point of-
Yes.
Are you going to vote on having them come in on the 4th of February? If you do, just a point of order, you can't do that in executive session, can you?
Do we have to even vote on it?
We can vote that we're going to let them, and then in an executive session, talk about
about
how
the
we're gonna
strategy.
deal with them. We have to vote on allowing them to come in, and then talk about the
And I
strategy.
think we still have to discuss conditions for them to be here properly.
In executive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
Would you, I mean.
And so.
So we need to vote to agree for them to present?
Give them the option.
Okay.
Give them an
Maybe
option
we'll
to
word
do
it
that,
that way.
yeah. Then we could come out of executive session to do a vote. Unless we decide
Why
we're
don't we
not,
just vote now?
Yeah.
We're giving them the option.
Because there's
We're not
more-
Saying you have to come.
I have conditions I'd like to put on that option, some of which have already been
But you're not gonna put
articulated.
it on a vote anyway. You're
Pardon?
not gonna put that condition on a vote, are you? Those conditions.
No, we're gonna put them in your briefcase.
Exactly.
But why don't we just vote, we can make a motion to give NHP the opportunity to come and present to us on February 4th with the conditions that will come out of the executive committee meeting immediately following, or the executive session immediately following this.
Does that sound right?
Sure.
Second.
There we go. Thank you. Okay,
Roll call.
Roll call vote. Bob?
Your mic's on.
Hello, I'm here. Sorry, my pointer was stuck.
Yes.
Jonathan, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
600. And now we need a vote to take, come into executive session for the purpose of discussing terms and conditions relative to the vote we just took as part of our negotiation with potential contractor or developer. So I move that we enter executive session for Mass General Law, whatever the chapter is. I read it earlier and I don't even have that paper.
Second.
Yes, I have to say, it. Well, nobody's taking minutes, so it'll be in the minutes.
And this will end, this meeting we won't reconvene after.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
Right.
Can you just send me the link, please?
What?
Can you send me the executive site link?
Yes, I did.
Thank you.
I did in my last email.
John wasn't on it.
I was not on it.
Oh. Sorry. Does
No
anybody have
worries.
that?
I'm looking,
All right, Beth is sending it to you now, John.
I'm looking. Here
Thank
we
you.
go. Executive
Okay, thank you for
session,
me.
January.
I was gonna send it from you. You got it already
I
planned?
don't think I have his email. Okay. Let's, I'm gonna start that session. then.
Okay, I just sent it.
Thank you, Beth. Go to
That,
meeting.
did you look at your emails? I sent you the information.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we are going to enter executive session. Damn it, who's got the agenda, Andy? Gotta read this. Thank you, Rick. It's the same on every agenda. We're gonna enter executive session of the Mass General Law, Chapter 38, Section 2.1, subsection 6 of the Open Meeting Law, to discuss and negotiate terms and conditions of pending and proposals. And the board will not resume the regular meeting at the conclusion of the executive session. All votes will be roll call votes. And we need a roll call vote to enter executive session. So, Sherry?
Yes.
Yes.
Pat?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Jonathan, yes. Beth?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
We are now in executive session, and I refer you to the portal. Bob, did you get the portal? And John
Yes, I
got
did.
it?
Yes, I did. You sent me
Everybody
the
else
email.
got it. I have John on the list. And I'm gonna close this section here.
I think you can